An excerpt from Raven. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. The sun also ariseth. Ecclesiastes 1:4. She stood with her partner on the deserted corner, trying to remain calm. As the warm evening air closed in around them, she thought back to her childhood with Natalia and Matvey. She'd had a different name then, a different name for a more innocent time. There had been no hint of the chaos that would come with the passing of years. Special Agent Maureen Rogers looked around the intersection. In the dull glow of the streetlights, she picked out the darkened windows that concealed their backup. Her eyes continued to sweep the darkened buildings that surrounded the intersection, noting the points that concealed snipers. She hoped they would be ready for any eventuality. Next to her, Special Agent David Troy fidgeted and looked down at the small bag at his feet. "I hate waiting," he muttered. Maureen glanced at him, then returned to watching the street. Over the 5 years they had been partners, she had come to admire David's skills as an investigator. It was his impatience that, at times, proved to be annoying. "Just ease down," she said. "Easy for you to say. You're the calmest agent in the division, if not all of VGS. If you were any calmer, you'd collapse. How long have we been standing here?" "About half an hour. Now, settle. You'll live longer." "Doesn't anything ever bother you?" Maureen considered a moment. "You know the way restaurants and coffee shops always fill the cups right up to the rim so you can't stir in sugar without spilling? That annoys me. Aside from that," she tugged at the collar of the fatigues she wore over the far too close-fitting suit of body armor. The MD-24 Flex Armor suit had been designed to protect the wearer from phased plasma weapons. It also hugged the wearer's body like second skin. "Who designed this armor?" "I've never worn a more uncomfortable outfit. I don't think the designers had comfort in mind when they were developing the armor. They were more concerned with the level of protection." "Well, that's reassuring." Maureen turned away and muttered, "Buckler, it says crew because of..." "What was that?" "Nothing, just babbling. Now, calm down." She checked the street again. "I hope the kids are all right." David tugged at the collar of his own fatigues. Mornier must be ripping his hair out. Maureen tapped the earbud she wore in her left ear. "The curse of being a successful grandparent. Anything yet, guys?" On the building across from them, a hint of movement crossed one of the windows. The voice of Special Agent Bernard Stevens, in charge of their tactical support team, sounded distracted. "Hold on, Maureen. There's a vehicle approaching from the north. This could be it." "Confirm. Don't be late when we call." "Have I ever let you down? Good luck." "Don't jinx us with good wishes, Bernie," David said. "Thanks anyway." He tried to sound at ease, but Maureen could hear the tension in his voice. Headlights appeared down the street, sweeping the permacrete with harsh white light. The car was a large Land Rover, its windows tinted so dark that neither agent could see through them. The car came to a stop in front of them. One of the rear passengers' doors opened. A man's voice came from the dark interior. "You have it?" It wasn't a question. David picked up the bag. "Right here. Where are the kids?" "Change of plan," the voice said. "Raven wants to talk to you. Shed the weapons, cell phones, and anything else you might be carrying and get in." "Now wait just a damn minute." A sharp click came from the car. "Do it, or we'll find out how ineffective flex armor is against bullets." Maureen shared a worried look with David. Flex armor had been designed to protect the wearer against the extreme heat from phased plasma charges. The suits provided little defense against high-speed projectiles. Stephen's voice whispered in their ears, "Do it. Lieutenant Robinson is signaling her team. She's got you covered." The two agents set their pistols, cell phones, and earbuds on the sidewalk. The voice from the car laughed. "I do love compliance. Now, lose whatever other tricks you may have hidden." David held out his arms. "No tricks. Scan us if you want." "I know." David glanced at Stephen's hiding place before he followed Maureen into the car. He set the bag between them and turned to the shadow that sat across from them. "So what now?" "Now we go for a ride." David glanced at Maureen and slipped low in the seat. An excerpt from Stranger. Would you that spangle of existence spend about the secret? Quick about it, friend. A hair perhaps divides the false and true, and upon what, prithee, may life depend? The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The following is compiled from the post-assignment report of Probationary Agent Denise Bell, Division 2, Badge Number 451491, Level 2. Entry dates 11 April to 18 April 2191. Some elucidation included for clarity. DB. I was happy to have come across the store. I was beginning to feel like I'd been driving for weeks rather than days. All the roads were starting to blur together into one long, tree-lined lane. I eased my rented car to a stop in front of the low building. A large sign identified the building as Scully's General Store. A voice in the back of my head babbled, "A general store? Don't they sell anything specifically?" "Stop it, Denise." I switched off the engine, climbed out of the car, and looked over the forest that surrounded the store. The trees stretched off as far as I could see. This part of the American Northwest was still heavily forested despite 3 centuries of population growth and civil unrest. I used to wonder, back at the creche in Portland, how much longer the trees would remain given the growing need for areas to develop. I looked down the road, then back at the forest. Somewhere out there, hiding among the trees, was a camp of criminals, terrorists, and one woman who thought she was doing the right thing. The trouble was, the camp didn't register on the local power grid, and the occupants didn't show up on any scans. Not even their beryllium traces registered. I had to find them for reasons that were starting to contradict themselves in my mind. That didn't make my job any easier. I sighed, tugged at the collar of my leather jacket, and started into the store. The 2-tone alarm went off as soon as I walked through the door. I stopped and closed my eyes. In the back of my mind, I'd hoped the store owners hadn't installed an beryllium scanner in their security system. I had hoped they hadn't given in to the paranoia directed towards people like me. We're designed to be physically superior to normal humans, but we're treated like second-class citizens, or worse. That's why we carry the beryllium trace in our bones. It makes it easier to pick us out of a crowd. Why not just put up a sign, I muttered. No enhanced humans allowed. Life would be so much easier. I heard running feet and opened my eyes. A middle-aged man wearing a sweat-stained shirt and baggy pants was rushing toward me. The owner, probably. There was an angry look on his face, and both hands were clenched into fists. "Is there a problem?" I asked, trying to sound innocent. "Get out," he said. "Get the hell out of here. This is a respectable place. We don't want your kind in here." I put my hand over my heart. I am what I am. I can be, I can dream, I can live. I just wanted a cup of coffee. Get out. But out, before I do something you'll regret. I stared and wondered if he knew anything about enhanced humans, especially what set us apart from normal humans, aside from the beryllium trace, that is. He seemed to think that because he felt in his heart that he was right, He'd triumph over anything, even someone many times stronger than he was. Or was he underestimating me because I look like a sex? I'm a light industrial design. I didn't want to be the one to convince him otherwise. Maybe I should flash my CZ75 and official credentials? No, that wouldn't help. I looked around the store as the aroma of fresh brewed coffee reached me. At the checkout counter to the right of the door stood an older woman, about the same age as the owner. There was a look of sadness on her face. I wondered how sincere it was. I decided not to take the path most often taken, the path of least resistance. Okay, all right, fine. Be that way. One question before I go, if I may. Is it hard living with a mind that narrow? I spun and marched out of the store before he could say anything. The confused look on his face was enough of an answer. I leaned on the rental, buried my face in my hands, and tried to hold back the tears. Like all enhanced humans, I'd run into attitudes like the owners before. My sort are expected to go out of our way to avoid conflicts. Very few normal humans are willing to be as flexible. It's one of the many things I'm still trying to deal with. I massaged my eyes and stopped crying. I had an assignment to carry out and better things to do with my time than stress over the foolishness of a stranger. I looked back at the store and reached for the door release. I heard the store's door open, then a woman's voice. Wait! I looked back and saw the woman from behind the counter walking toward me, holding a paper cup. I smelled the coffee before she reached me. Ma'am? She still looked sad as she handed me the coffee. I'm sorry about my husband. Tim is a good man, but sometimes doesn't open his eyes as wide as he should. I thought for a moment about venting my frustrations at her, but decided against it. When it comes to matters like this, aggression doesn't help. Quite often it can make things worse, something the criminals I'm looking for haven't learned. And venting at her wouldn't change his attitude. I took a long sip, savoring the flavor. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. May I ask a few questions? I understand there's a camp in the area. A camp of people like me? The woman's eyes narrowed and she looked suspicious. A camp? Yes. Do you happen to know where that's located? She looked disgusted. Why would you want to go there? I wondered how much of my assignment I should tell her. This wasn't covered in the briefing. I'm trying to find one of my batch sisters. She's fallen in with these people and I want to get her out. You've had some contact with them? She took a deep breath. From time to time, they call us for supplies. The first time they demanded we deliver to them, which we usually don't do. After talking to them, Tim and I felt we had to. Why? With all due respect, he doesn't strike me as the kind to cooperate with enhanced humans. That is true. I was the one to make the deliveries, and when they first called, they strongly implied that if we didn't make the delivery, it would be bad for business. Oh? Something along the lines of, you have a nice business here, it'd be a pity if anything happened to it? Have you had any trouble with them? She looked uncomfortable for a moment. Not really trouble. Sometimes we'll hear gunfire. Any drive-bys, brandishing weapons? No, nothing like that. I nodded and filed away the information. Where did you make the deliveries? She nodded toward down the road. If you continue down the road another 1.5 kilometers, you'll come to an old service road on the left. That's where they met me for all the deliveries. You might try looking there. I finished the coffee and nodded. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you again for the coffee. I handed her the cup, climbed into the car, and thumbed on the ignition. As I pulled away, I heard her say, I hope you find what you're looking for. So do I said, even though I knew she couldn't hear me. We're too young to be hooked up with people like that. Once out of sight of the store, I pulled to the side of the road and reached into the jump bag on the passenger seat. I took out my cell phone and tapped a preset. The call was picked up on the second ring. Yes? As always, the sound of Special Agent Nicola Baldwin's voice settled my nerves. Hey, it's not easy being the first enhanced human in Division 2. I need all the reassuring I can get. It helps that she doesn't seem to care that I'm enhanced. It's me. Final check-in, I hope. You found the camp? I think so. Wish me luck, partner. Don't linger. Get in, get your sister, and get out. Don't worry, I have no desire to spend any more time with them than I have to. Despite the confidence in my voice, I couldn't help but wonder how true the words were. You're clear on your cover story? I got it memorized. Your landmark is Scully's General Store. I'll meet you outside. Not inside? They don't like people like me in there. For a moment, there was silence. I could picture the confused look on Nicola's face. She's still getting used to being partnered with an enhanced human. I won't ask, she finally said. That would be for the best. Well, good luck. Thanks. I hung up and returned the cell phone to the jump bag. I stared down the road, silence, sighed, and continued driving.